Welcome to Ingrid's World. My name is Ingrid Paris Hicklin. On this show, meet Charlotte Avery, an author, motivational speaker, coach, minister, and entrepreneur who is fiercely committed to helping women from going from overwhelmed to overjoyed in marriage, motherhood, and in the marketplace. She draws upon her experience as a wife and mother of 7. She gives women, moms, and families the tools they need to define themselves and what it means to have it all. Well, welcome to the show, Charlotte.
Thank you for having me, Ingrid.
Great to
I'm
have
so happy
you.
to be here.
We go back, though.
Yes, we do. Oh, my goodness. We go way back.
When you were at Hampton University?
Yes, when I was an undergrad. You hired me for my first summer job.
Oh,
yes, you did.
that's a while ago.
Yes, it is. Oh, my gosh.
it.
It seems like many moons ago, and yet it
Yes.
still seems like yesterday.
And exactly. Well done. Well done. Well, tell us about your career, Charlotte.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, if anybody had ever told me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now, I would have said, no, I'm not. That was not true. But, you know, now that I'm a wife and mom of 7 and everything, I completely, I guess, what do you call that? I reinvented myself.
Yes.
So, you know, my master's degree is in sports medicine. And
I remember.
yes,
Yeah.
And so, you know, my whole life, you know, I thought I was going to either be a lawyer or do something in sports or what have you. And then the trajectory of my life just completely changed. And I got married, I became a mom, and then 4.5 months later, I found out I was pregnant with my second child. And so my 2 older children are actually 13.5 months apart. And then we just kept having babies, no twins, you know, but we have 5, I mean, we have 7 kids, and it's an amazing life. So just over the course of time in, you know, being a wife and a mom, I still knew that I still had hopes and dreams, and I still had purpose of, you know, beyond being a wife and a mom. And I always wrote poetry and different things like that. And so when I was pregnant with my 3rd child, and actually we ended up losing that baby at the time, but I started the process of writing my first book, which is No One Ever Told Me, Witty, Practical, and Spiritual Truths About Motherhood.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness. I just loved it. And the stomach, I just loved it. It's beautifully written, and the words. And
oh, thank you.
Oh.
And you know, I wrote that book because as I was on the phone having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine, and I was like, you know what, this motherhood thing is real. And I was like, how come nobody tells you these things before you become a mom? I mean, my mom is still living. And I was like, you know what, they don't tell us these things because they want to have grandchildren. You know, they're keeping all of these, like, you know, things away from us or whatever. And so I decided to write about it.
It's a secret. Don't tell them.
So I decided to, you know, set moms free and tell them the truth about motherhood.
Oh my goodness. No one ever told me that a meal that felt so satisfying going down could feel ever so more satisfying coming up.
Yes.
Oh my God. No,
Yes.
you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow. No one ever told me that shopping for maternity clothes could be an emotional adventure.
Yes, it is. Because your body is changing and all kinds of stuff, and it's a lot. It's a lot when your wardrobe changes. Everything is changing, you know, and so yes, I wrote about it.
Okay. And did it so well and so beautifully.
Thank
you. Oh my goodness. No one ever told me that stretch marks are trophies reminding you that you conquered childbirth.
Yes.
I like that.
And you know, because I have 7 children, I have a lot of trophies. I have a lot of trophies on this bod. Yes, I do.
Listen to you. Beautifully written book.
Thank you.
I love this. When did you publish this?
I published this book back in 2009. I was pregnant with number 5. And that's when I actually published it.
How do you fit in writing these wonderful books and raising beautiful children? We have a picture that, you know, you sent us a picture.
Yes.
Was it South County, SoCo?
Oh, yes, SoCo Neighbors Magazine, yes. Well, the thing is that when I get a thought to write something, it usually comes quick, fast, and in a hurry. And my time, as you know, being a wife and a mom, it's very limited,
Right.
And so I just, when I get these thoughts or whatever, I just end up usually writing them in usually between a day and a week. So like for this book, I kid you not, I wrote this book in less than a week.
No.
I kid you not. I wrote this book.
Wait a minute.
I wrote No One
These
Ever Told Me.
pearls of wisdom.
I wrote that book in less than a week.
Okay, this is my favorite one. No one ever told me that a 10-minute shower could feel like a day at the spa. Hello.
Hello.
Boom.
Yes.
That's me.
Yes, and that's the time when your kids don't need to be knocking on your door. And my kids are famous for that. My kids.
That's the only time they're going to come to the door.
They will bypass their dad.
Of course.
These people will bypass their dad downstairs and they will come upstairs busting in my bathroom like, no, we're not doing that. And I just lock the door and I kick them out and I don't come out until I'm good and ready.
And I like what you say down here. Have you ever been to the spa?
Right. Have you ever? Oh my gosh. I mean, it's real. Because, with moms, you have to take time for yourself. You have to take time for yourself. Self-care, we preach self-care, but we rarely practice.
We don't practice
self-care.
it. No.
And with my clients, I mean, it's in their written agreement. If you don't practice self-care, we can no longer work together. That's how serious I am about it.
So you write that as a part of the agreement.
Yes, I do.
Which is a great segue to talk about your business. Tell us more about your business.
So I coach women, and now I'm starting to coach some husbands.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am, which I didn't see that coming. But what I found is that sometimes men don't have a clue about what their wives are going through, and their wives are usually not the ones to tell them what's going on because they're too close to the situation, and their wives are too emotional about it. And men don't deal in emotional spaces; they deal with facts. And
True.
And so when they already find us to be these emotional beings that are just criers and all kinds of things, and they're just like, here it comes. But when you put another woman in the picture who's been there and done that, who can actually coach a man through what his wife is actually going through and make him see the other side, then it just becomes a perfect marriage of I'm working with your wife and now I'm working with you too, so that you guys can actually find common ground. But I started out solely working with women, and I love it. I mean, I love being able to work in groups or to be able to work one-on-one, because some people just don't want to work in a group setting, which I totally get, because some people need, they just need that one-on-one time because they don't want everybody hearing their business and things of that nature. But to be able, I mean, I count it an honor and a privilege to work in that space. I count it an honor and privilege for people to invite me into their homes to do a family rescue or something like that. And
family rescue.
Yes, and a lot of people don't know that I do that.
Okay,
actually.
let's talk about that one. What's the family rescue?
So a family rescue usually happens, and it's always usually the wife that calls me who's about to like flip out on the deep end and is like, what, our house is unstructured, I'm at odds with my husband, I feel like we're about to get a divorce, or what have you. And so usually it's the wife that calls me and says, do you do one-on-ones? Do you do house calls? And I mean, the first time somebody asked me that, I was like, well, I don't, but I could because they were local. And so then it just started to become something that I, initiated into my business plan to do family rescues. And so what I do is I usually go into the home and I usually have a huge family meeting with the husband, the wife, and their children.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm usually the one that's sitting there mediating it so that everybody knows that they have a voice. And then I kick the kids out and I have a very transparent conversation with the parents. And then I kick the mom out and have a very transparent conversation with the dad. And then the dad leaves and I have a very transparent conversation with the mom.
Wow.
And then I have a conversation with the children collectively and separately, so that we can all get the family back on the same page. And then when I leave, by the time I leave, everybody has felt heard. They have a strategy plan, whether it's a chore plan, whether it's a date night plan, some of it just flows all together so that harmony can come back into the home.
A lot of hard work.
It is a lot of hard work.
But it is a family rescue.
It is. It is, because, I mean, it's hard when you have young people and they're seeing their parents argue, and your children are always like, well, are mommy and daddy going to get a divorce? Like, what is going on? And for parents to actually sit there and hear what their children say that they didn't even hear, they didn't even have an opportunity to hear them say before, because their children were too afraid sometimes. But because I come in and I make them have a safe space within their home, which should be their safe space, then they just kind of like regurgitate it all, like, my dad curses, or my mom yells, or, all that. And I'm familiar with the yelling mom, which is why I wrote the 40-day tone of voice.
Yes, now, this 40 days, tone of voice down.
Yes, tone of voice, tone down.
Why did you write this book?
So, because I have a comfortable space, and being transparent here, I am a recovering yeller. So, sometimes when I...
Wait a minute. I'm a yeller.
Okay.
You're a yeller?
Yes, so I am a recovering yeller.
But I'm praying on it, so I'm not as...
This is why you need this book.
That's why I need... When I saw this book, and that, I looked through it quickly, and I said, this sounds like the book that I'm going to have to study,
Yes, but let me just tell you how that book came about. So when I wrote that book, before it ever became a book, it became a confession.
I love it.
Yes, it became a confession on social media.
Oh, okay, now that's okay. That's different.
Yes, it became a confession on social media because I was tired of always apologizing to my husband and to my children about yelling. I was just sick and tired of myself and being sick and tired. And so I kid you not,
You just tell the truth no matter what, don't you?
Yes. And so, listen, you might as well tell on yourself, right? And so I went on my social media page and I said, for the next 40 days, I am not going to yell at my husband or my children. And at the point that I wrote that, I had closed my social media page, and then I came back to check it an hour later. And by then I had 8 people that responded. It's like, when are you going to start doing this? I want to do this with you. And in my mind, I was like, I did not invite you to be on this journey with me. And they were like, I want to do this with you. And then people were inboxing me and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, what in the world? And so I really had to pray about it. And so I was like, okay. So they're like, when are you starting? And I start everything on a Monday or at the beginning of the month.
Wow.
And so,
why is that? Why?
Because it just helps me to stay structured and stay focused.
Monday or beginning of the month. Okay.
And so, so what happened was the following Monday, I woke up every day for the next 40 days. I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and every day, everybody who was on this journey with me, they got a thought and a scripture to go along with it.
Ooh.
And it was a closed group, so nobody knew who was doing what or anything like that. Only the people who were in the group. And then the group also became a community space for people to come in and say, I had a really bad day. I yelled at my daughter. I sent her out to school in the world, and now I don't know what to do. What do I do? And that's me coming back in and saying, okay, how far away is the school? Because, my thing is, death and life is in the power of the tongue. The death and life of some of our relationships is in our mouth, and
the death and life of a relationship is in our mouth.
Is in our mouth sometimes. And so, we can make or break our relationships just by the words that we say or how we say them. And so, it was me coming in and saying, okay, you need to go, you need to call your daughter if she has her cell phone at school, or you need to text her and send her a message and say, I'm sorry, or go to the school and just have a quick meeting with her and say, you know what, I was wrong. And so just navigating that space. And so what happened was I was actually in the process of writing a different book after the 40-day tone of voice, tone down was over. And on this, when I first did this journey, I had 83 people who joined me.
83?
83 people.
By you just saying, I'm going to stop.
Yes, and people saying, I want to start doing this with you. I had 83 people, and at the end of that 40 days, people were like, well, what are we going to do? It's almost done. Like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, it's over. It was only supposed to be 40 days. And like, well, we need to do it again. And so then the next time I had 157 people or so who went on the journey with me again. But then after that, I tabled it. I'm like, okay, great. We're all free, set free, and delivered from our mouths or whatever. And I was actually working on a different book. And then I just kind of got this tap on my shoulder saying, table that book and write this book. And I was like, I don't want to write this book. But the thing is, it was so easy for me to do because I already had the 40 days of content.
Oh my goodness.
And the only thing that I had to do was talk about my journey and my story and all of my foolishness about how my mouth almost destroyed my marriage, my children, and everything, which is in these pages of this book, actually.
Yes.
And so yeah, so I talked about it.
Yeah, that's why when you mailed this to me, I was like, this is a book that I'm not going to like read quickly for the interview. I said, Charlotte will talk about it, and then I will go back. And then, because I like your daily affirmations and transform. Oh my goodness, pages. Today has been a great day because. Today's going to be a great day because. And I like this one. Today was challenging because.
Right. Right. It really helps you to tell the truth and to see yourself. And, you know, one thing that I really love about this book is that, you know, I talk about the dynamics of a yeller. I talked about where it came from, the pathology. Why was I yelling? What was going on in my space? Who around me at the time was a yeller? And I just talked about my history and the things that, you know, really took me to that place. And so that's how if you want to know all of my dirty, it's in these pages right here.
But you're sharing it with a way to help us all improve.
Yes.
So I think there's a different, I don't consider it dirty. I just feel as if that you care about your fellow, you know, person.
I really
care
do.
About
and you know, the thing that really surprised me is that I thought it was going to be like a bunch of moms that jumped on the tone of voice, tone down train. But it wasn't. It was moms, it was dads, it was CEOs of companies that said, you know what, I have this way of patronizing my employees or making them feel bad or whatever. So some people weren't even parents, but there were people who recognized, you know what, I really do have an issue with my mouth. I have an issue with my body language and all of that. And so they hopped on, and it's been going strong ever since.
Because when I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is not a woman's book. This is a book for anyone.
It is.
You know, why was I yelling?
Yes.
Why am I yelling?
Yes.
Where did I get that behavior from?
Right, and you know what, I mean, just like I taught my children lessons, I said, you know what, yelling is a choice. You don't have to yell. You know, unless there's something like a big emergency or, you know, a building's about to burn down or somebody's about to get hit by a car, yelling is a choice. You don't have to yell. We don't have to hurt each other with our words.
Ooh, wow, that's something else. Today I will speak life into myself and following to the following person. What does that mean? Today I will speak life.
So speak life, and that's actually another thing that I have going right now too, is speak life. So, you know, when you're speaking life into people, I mean, you can say speak life, but you asked me, what does that mean? So speak life means that when you'll think about what you're saying, is what you're saying purposeful? Is it being supportive? Is it being purposeful? Is it empowering? Is it affirming? Or is it kind? That's what the acronym SPEAK stands for.
Oh.
Yes. And if your words aren't doing that, then you might as well just not open your mouth.
Say this again. Is it what?
Is it supporting?
Supporting.
Is it purposeful?
Purposeful.
Is it empowering?
Is it empowering?
Is it affirming?
Affirming.
And is it kind?
Is it kind? Other than you say, just keep your mouth closed.
Yes, if it's not any of those things, then just be quiet. Yes. Just do us all a favor and do yourself a favor and just don't say anything. Yes.
Charlotte, you haven't changed much because I remember that frank to the bones honesty from the very beginning.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. And look what you've done.
Yes.
I read this book and I read this right away and I said, well, first of all, the illustrations were wonderful.
Thank you.
But it was so cute. And then there's also a parent manual that goes with this.
Yes, and actually the parent manual will be coming out, I don't know, sometime soon, but I'm super excited about it because this is the first children's book that I wrote. And actually, I was writing the parent manual before I wrote this book. But then I was like, you know, it would be really cool to have a children's book to go along with the parent manual. So this actually got done first. And so when I wrote Riding the Potty Train, I wrote it because, you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, Charlotte, you know, is it harder to potty train boys than it is girls. You know, they have so many, because, you know, I'm the family strategist with a PhD in motherhood, right?
Yes, yes.
And so people have asked me all these questions about motherhood and things of that nature. And so I just went on and decided, you know, I'm going to write a children's book. And it just came out far more amazing. It's actually, I mean, it is really, I mean, I love all of my books, but I think I'm most proud of this. And I think the thing that really did it for me is when my daughter, my 5-year-old, picked this up and she said, "Mommy, can I read your potty train book?" And she sat there and opened it up and she read it. She read it, and it just blew my socks off to hear her read it. And every day now, she always wants to read this book.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's beautifully written, and it just makes it so much fun. The dance party, and wait, there's more.
And it's super colorful. I mean,
it's so
it really grabs the attention of kids, and it makes the kids want to pick it up and read it. And you know, they can sit there and read it while they're using the potty and things of that nature. But I love it.
And when your trip is over, you can do a favorite dance.
Yes, I mean it's
because
amazing.
You're a big kid.
Yes, I mean it's one of my it's actually one of my favorite books, and it's actually inspired me to write more children's books.
Oh, I hope you do. I hope you do, because it's well done. It's few words, but it punches with a lot of meaning.
Thank you.
You know, and
that's what I really wanted. I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to really get to the heart. And when you read the parent manual, you'll see how it goes hand in hand with just the adventure of these children that are on the potty train, and the engineer that's on the train with them and things like that, because the engineer is actually the parent, right? And then, but then they have these little passengers that they're taking along with them, because when you're potty training your child, it's a journey between you and your child. It's not just your child, and it's not just you.
Wow. Well, more potty training, more books for children, and you know what success this is.
Thank you.
So, next steps for you, Charlotte Avery. You were talking about moms. You spoke a little bit about mom, and you have a particular acronym, or is it that you refer to moms? What's your business called? What is it called?
Oh, so are you talking about? I'm trying to.
So you know, because when I was reading your bio, you were talking about inspired moms. You teach them to be entrepreneurs.
Oh, so you know, one thing that I do, like the systems that I create, of course, and you mentioned this in my. In my introduction, is, you know, I take women from overwhelmed to overjoyed in marriage, motherhood, and the marketplace. And what I find that's so important is that, you know, as women, when you're a mom and you have so many things going on, and people ask me all the time, Charlotte, how do you do what you do? How do you write books? How do you parent 7 children? How do you have a successful marriage? How do you do ministry? How do you go on TV? How do you do all these different things? And the reality of it is I just want moms to really understand that you can do and be everything that you ever thought you could be, even though you're a mom. The mom is just the added value. You know, I mean, the thing is you know, when I'm a mom, but as a mom, I am a it is, because you know, when I'm a mom, I am a maker of moments. I'm a maker of memories, MOM. I'm all these things to my children.
I'm a maker of moments.
Yes, and you know what? Making moments with your kids really matters, and it doesn't matter how busy you get. You know, it's really having that time to invest in your children, invest in your family, invest in your marriage, invest in yourself. And you can't do any of those things if you're not taking care of you. And so, you know, I'm not a believer that women should just sacrifice themselves and be the sacrificial lambs of their family. Right. I don't subscribe to that at all.
That's beautiful.
I subscribe to, you know what, doing everything that you want to do for your family and not losing yourself in those things, so that you can still be the author, be the motivational speaker, be the business owner. You can still run a business, a successful business, and be a mother. And you don't have to feel like you're sacrificing your marriage. You can be married. My husband and I, we've been married for almost 20 years now. And
20 years
almost
now.
Not there. I mean,
but
still, you know. But I mean, we're almost there.
Wow.
And I think about all the things that we've accomplished, you know, as entrepreneurs and as parents. And it's just an amazing journey. But I just feel like, women need to understand, and they need to be able to see the examples, because there's so many women who just say, well, I can't do this, or, I was doing this, but now I'm not because I had kids, or now, and I'm like, well, why? That's not a choice. Is it a choice that you made because it's a choice that you wanted to make? Is it a seasonal choice? Because sometimes our choices are seasonal, so everything doesn't have to be a finality. It could be, well,
seasonal choice.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's, okay, I'm tabling this for now, I'm raising these people, and at the same time, you can still, while you're raising a family, be, like I do, I work in the dark. I always say, while my husband and children are sleeping and snoring and talking in their sleep, that I'm still building a business. And that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm able to be here, because I have a great support system. But I'm still growing my business. I'm still able to spend time with my wonderful friend Ingrid and be here. And so I'm enjoying it. I'm loving every minute of it.
Well, how do we find more information on Charlotte Avery? How do we do that?
So you can find me on all of my social media at Being Charlotte Avery.
Oh.
And the reason why it's Being Charlotte Avery is because I can only be me and I don't want to be anybody else. And you can go to my website at beingcharlotteavery.com. If you want potty training information, you can go to writingthepottytrain.com. And on Twitter, I'm Being Charlotte A, and on LinkedIn, I'm Charlotte E. Avery.
Well, a pleasure to have you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Ingrid.
And let's stay in touch.
Yes, please.
No more 20 years.
I know.
I love it. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And our inspirational quote this time is from Lena Horne. It's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it. Thank you for watching Ingrid's World. And don't forget to friend us on Facebook and follow Ingrid's World VA on Twitter and Instagram. And if you missed this episode, you know what to do. Watch Ingrid's World on YouTube or at ingridsworld.org. Thanks so much for watching.